Hello there guys, it's Math Dominus, and today I'm going to be talking about the DC Studios shakeup that's been happening right now, and I gotta ask, what is going on with DC Studios right now? From Wonder Woman 3 being cancelled to Henry Cavill losing the Superman role again after he just gained it a few months ago? Sheesh. What exactly is going on at DC Studios? With every news that's coming up, it just feels more and more confusing. Sometimes they talk about a full-on reboot to the DC Extended Universe, sometimes they talk about bringing back actors from the DC Extended Universe, so it begs the question if they're gonna fully reboot it or not. It's just so frustrating. That's the best way to describe everything that's going on with DC Extended Universe news and such. It's just frustrating. Now, about a year ago, I made a video titled The Problems with DC Movies, and in that video, I explained that the biggest problem with the DC Extended Universe was just how directionless it felt. Instead of building towards a big event like Darkseid taking over Earth or something, the DC movies has just been kind of making a bunch of solo movies and just seeing what sticks. But now there's a solution to this problem. Just reboot the DC Extended Universe, because at this point, there is no saving it. It's kind of shocking to hear me say that, because I've been a huge fan of the DC Extended Universe. I actually like movies like Man of Steel and Batman vs Superman and Zack Snyder's Justice League, so to hear me say that I want the DC Extended Universe to be rebooted is quite a shock, but at the same time, it's out of frustration. For as much as I love those movies, there is something that I have to accept. The DC Extended Universe just isn't that viable of a franchise. It is a mess. When it comes to Marvel movies, the Marvel Cinematic Universe is starting to decline in quality, but at the very least, they have a sense of direction, and there are still fans excited for the new Avengers movies. But when it comes to the DC Extended Universe, there's not a lot of people really excited for its future. There's a lot of confusion going on with the movies, and because of that, the DC Extended Universe just isn't popular. And if the future of the DC Extended Universe is to basically be the next Marvel, then I think a reboot is needed, because at this point, with the mess that's going on in your current universe, the best thing to do is just to start over and have a clean slate. And honestly, I can get behind that. Yeah, I love the DC Extended Universe, but as is, I'd rather they just reboot the DC Universe so that we can have a brand new universe where people can talk about Superman and Batman just as much as they talk about Spider-Man and Hulk. I just want a consistently good DC universe that's equivalent to Marvel's Cinematic Universe. Now, there is a slight problem going on with the news and stuff. It's the fact that there seems to be some confusion on how exactly are they going to reboot the DC universe. It feels like they're going to reboot it entirely, but then you hear news that Gal Gadot's Wonder Woman is still showing up, Ezra Miller's Flash is still showing up. God, I hope he doesn't show up. Yeah, you can tell there's still some confusion. Are they fully rebooting the DC universe, or are they keeping some things from the DC Extended Universe? I'd rather they don't keep some things, because like I said, you need to have a clean slate so people don't have to go back to those movies just to see what exactly is happening in those films. Because if you're forcing people to go back and rewatch movies from the previous universe in this all-new reboot, you're going to cause a bunch of confusion. And it's gonna get even more confusing than the Godzilla franchise, that's for certain. And another thing is that Robert Pattinson Batman is supposed to be part of this brand new DC universe, but thankfully James Gunn debunked those rumors because he says that the Batman is gonna still stay in his own universe just as much as Joaquin Phoenix's Joker is staying in his universe. And honestly, I feel like that's a good direction to take Matt Reeves' Batman, to not make it a part into a cinematic universe, just so we can have a movie series that doesn't connect to a much larger universe. But then there are reports where J.J. Abrams' Black Superman is apparently still happening. Oh boy, honestly, this is a whole can of worms that there is just a lot to talk about, and it's all controversial the same because of the whole cultural war with the anti-woke people and the woke people. Yeah, you can tell it's one of those types of conversations. I'm not exactly against a Black Superman, but at the same time, if I were to critique it, I'd be called racist because of it for no other reason other than I'm criticizing Superman being black. But there's a problem with a Black Superman going on, because if you're trying to reboot the DC Extended Universe and trying to have a clean slate, why are you then making another Superman movie that will just end up confusing people even more? If you're going to have a black Superman movie, it should be after you've already established an iconic white Superman, because that's the one that a lot of people have been waiting to have a full-on modern adaptation. So that way, when you make your black Superman movie, general audiences won't be confused and will know that this black Superman movie is just a Elseworld story. It's a side story that's not meant to connect to the main universe. Or if it is going to connect to the main universe, it's another Superman that isn't Clark Kent. The only problem with saying all of this is now I'm gonna get criticized for being racist by the woke people for no other reason other than I'm criticizing Black Superman and how it can actually confuse people. But then if I were to just blindly praise the new direction that we're gonna get a brand new Superman and he's black because for no other reason other than it's inclusive, or how black audiences can finally have their own black superhero for the 29th time in a row, I'm then gonna be labeled into the same category of woke people, and I'll be criticized by anti-woke people for being woke. You can see the problem with the black Superman now. It feels like they're making this black Superman movie just so that there can be controversy between anti-woke and woke people. And that controversy is basically free publicity, and if the movie ends up sucking, people can just say, oh, you don't like it just because you're racist, instead of discussing the quality of the film itself. Yeah, you can see the problems with what a black Superman movie can entail, and it's not because I'm racist or I don't want there to be a black Superman, but it's because we live in a time where we're not ready for a black Superman movie, especially if we're trying to reboot a DC universe. But at the end of the day, you can't please everybody. What I really want right now, and hopefully this is James Gunn's plan, is just to make a cinematic universe for the DC characters. Have a universe where Superman, Green Lantern, Batman, Wonder Woman, The Flash, Aquaman, Cyborg, Martian Manhunter, and all of those popular characters exist in a consistently good cinematic universe. Nothing more, nothing less. And it shouldn't be that hard to do, because if you're gonna reboot the universe, come on guys, it's not that hard to just have a plan. I mean, obviously, yeah, it's gonna be hard to make all the movies and to coordinate and such. I mean, obviously that part is gonna be the hard part, but at the same time, it shouldn't be that hard to actually try to build a universe and to understand where you're going to go, because you have a ton of source material like the comics and the animated films to have a blueprint. And again, hopefully this is the plan that James Gunn and that other guy is hopefully going to do for DC Studios. As of right now, I can only hope that they have a long-term plan that's going to pay off, because as of right now, I'm just frustrated with all of the news that DC is spilling out right now. Especially with Henry Cavill being out as Superman again after he was just brought back. I mean, that's just gotta be the most frustrating thing ever. Superman is back, and now he is not. Yeah, incredibly frustrating. But like I said, hopefully James Gunn has a long-term plan that will pay off, and that what we're experiencing right now is just a short-term frustration, and that we can look back on this and just laugh. That's the hope for the DC universe. Hopefully there is a future for DC movies. If you enjoyed this video, be sure to leave a like, as well as hit the subscribe button and turn on the notification bell for more content like this. If you want to go support me on Patreon, links will be provided in the description below, as well as links to my Instagram and DeviantArt pages for bonus content.